You don't belong here. You're not even real family. Talia's voice sliced through the church like a blade. Every head in the room turned. My mother's casket stood between us, covered in white roses. The exact ones I had ordered. The ones I had paid for with my own credit card 3 days ago. Her husband crossed his arms and smirked. Her teenage daughter looked at me like I was dirt on her shoe. I stood there frozen, holding the program I had designed and printed at Kinko's yesterday. My hands started shaking. I looked around the church. My aunt stared at the floor. My cousins shifted in their seats. The pastor cleared his throat but said nothing. Nobody defended me. Nobody said a word. The grief I had been carrying for 2 weeks suddenly cracked open into something else. Something harder. Something I had been holding back for years. Interesting, I said quietly. My voice didn't shake anymore. I turned to the lawyer sitting in the back pew. He had been watching everything with careful eyes. Maybe it's time we read what Mom wanted. Talia's face changed. Just slightly. A flicker of confusion. Because what nobody in that church knew was that I had paid for everything. The flowers. The casket. The burial plot. The catering in the reception hall. Every single dollar had come from my bank account. And when the lawyer stood up and opened the envelope Mom had left behind, Talia went pale. If you're watching this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're watching my revenge story from. I want to know how far it has traveled. My name is Mira, and I am 32 years old. My mom used to tell me something when I was little. She would say it while brushing my hair or folding laundry. You don't have to be loud to be strong, sweetie. You just have to keep the receipts. I never really understood what she meant until the last 6 months of her life. Talia was my half-sister. She was 8 years older than me. She had different fathers than I did. Her dad was rich. Mine died when I was 4. Talia grew up in the big house with the swimming pool and the new cars every year. I grew up in the converted basement apartment with Mom after Dad passed away. Talia was beautiful, confident. She married a lawyer named Preston. They had 2 kids and a vacation home in Vermont. She wore designer clothes and posted perfect photos on Facebook every week. I worked as a medical billing specialist. I lived in a small apartment with my cat. I drove a Honda with a broken air conditioner. And for as long as I could remember, Talia made it clear that I was less than her. She called me the second family whenever Mom wasn't listening. She told people I was Mom's charity project. At family dinners, she would talk over me like I wasn't even there. But when Mom got sick 6 months ago, everything changed. The lawyer's name was Mr. Donnelly. He was older, maybe 60, with gray hair and kind eyes. He pulled a sealed envelope from his briefcase. The envelope was cream-colored with Mom's handwriting on the front. To be read at my funeral, in front of everyone. Talia shifted in her seat. Her husband whispered something to her. She waved him off. Mr. Donnelly cleared his throat and began reading. My dearest family, if you're hearing this, I'm gone. And I need you to know some things I didn't have the strength to say while I was alive. The room went completely silent. Even the kids stopped fidgeting. For the last 6 months of my life, only one person took care of me. Only one person bathed me when I couldn't stand. Only one person fed me when I couldn't lift a spoon. Only one person sat with me during chemo when I was too weak to speak. I felt tears building, but I refused to let them fall. Not yet. That person was Mira, my youngest daughter, the one I could always count on. Talia stood up. Her face was red. This is ridiculous. She manipulated you while you were sick. Mr. Donnelly raised his hand. Please sit down, Mrs. Whitmore. There's more. Talia sat down slowly. Her jaw was tight. Preston put his hand on her shoulder, but she shrugged it off. Mr. Donnelly continued reading. Mira paid for my medications when insurance denied them. She worked extra shifts to cover my rent when I couldn't work anymore. She slept on my couch for 3 months so she could help me in the middle of the night. She never complained. She never asked for anything in return. My aunt started crying. I saw her dab her eyes with a tissue. And so I leave everything to Mira. My house, my savings, my car, everything. Because she earned it. Not through blood or obligation, but through love. Real love. The kind that shows up. The room exploded. Talia screamed. Preston stood up and pointed at Mr. Donnelly. My cousins gasped. My aunt covered her mouth. I just stood there, numb. I had known about the will. Mom had told me 2 weeks before she died. But I didn't know about the letter. She had kept that secret. Talia turned to me. Her eyes were full of rage. You poisoned her against me. You lied to her. I took a deep breath. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I didn't lie about anything, I said softly. You just weren't there. I was working. Talia shouted. Her voice echoed in the church. I had a job. I had a family. I couldn't just drop everything. I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. I had prepared for this moment. I had known Talia would try to rewrite history. That's why I had documented everything. You want to talk about where you were? I asked. I opened my photos and found the folder I had labeled Truth. On March 14th, Mom had her first chemo appointment. You told everyone you were in Spain for work. But you weren't. I turned my phone around to show the room. It was a screenshot of Talia's Instagram story. She was at a spa in Vermont. Champagne in hand. Smiling. The date stamp was clear. March 14th. My aunt gasped. My cousin whispered something to her husband. On April 3rd, Mom fell in the bathroom and broke her wrist. I called you 17 times. You didn't answer. You were at a yoga retreat in Colorado. I showed another screenshot. Talia in workout clothes, posing in front of mountains. The date stamp matched. Preston's face changed. He looked at Talia with confusion. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Do you want me to keep going? I asked. Talia lunged forward. For a second, I thought she was going to hit me. Preston grabbed her arm and pulled her back. She was breathing hard. Her mascara was starting to run. You don't understand, she hissed. I needed that time. I was stressed. I needed to take care of myself. Mom needed you, I said simply. But you chose yourself. The pastor stood up. He looked uncomfortable. Perhaps we should step outside and discuss this privately. No, I said firmly. Mom wanted this read in front of everyone. She wanted the truth to come out. Mr. Donnelly spoke again. There's also the matter of expenses. Mrs. Chin left detailed records. He pulled out another document. This one was stapled and highlighted. Mira paid for all funeral expenses. The casket was $4,200. The burial plot was $3,800. The flowers were $600. The catering for today's reception was $1,500. The death certificates and legal fees were $800. Altogether, Mira has spent $18,000 on today. Talia's face went white. She looked at Preston. He looked away. Mrs. Whitmore told Mira she would split these costs. She signed an agreement to that effect. She has paid nothing. The room erupted again. My aunt stood up. Talia, is that true? I remembered the day clearly. It was the same day Mom died. I was sitting in the hospital room holding her hand. She had passed away an hour before, but I couldn't let go yet. Talia walked in with Preston. She was on her phone. She barely looked at Mom's body. We need to talk about the arrangements, she said. She didn't hug me. She didn't ask if I was okay. She just started making plans. I think we should do it at St. Mary's, she said. That's where Dad got married. It's nice. Mom wanted it at St. Paul's, I said quietly. She told me last week. Talia waved her hand. St. Mary's is better. Trust me. I was too tired to argue. I agreed to St. Mary's. Then Talia started talking about costs. Obviously, we'll split everything 50-50, she said. She pulled out her phone and started typing. I'll send you a list of what we need. You can handle the vendors since you have more free time. Free time. As if I hadn't just spent 6 months caring for our dying mother. I agreed because I was exhausted. Because I didn't want to fight. Because I thought she would actually pay her half. She never did. Mr. Donnelly pulled out another document. This one made my stomach hurt just looking at it. I also have email correspondence between Mrs. Chin and her daughter Talia. These emails were sent over the past year. He began reading. March 2nd. From Talia to her mother. I know you're sick, but I really need that money now. I have expenses. It's not fair that you're making me wait until you're dead. The room went silent. My aunt's face turned red. Preston looked like he wanted to disappear. Mr. Donnelly continued. March 15th. From Talia to her mother. Fine. If you're going to be difficult about this, maybe I'll just stop visiting. You always liked Mira better anyway. Give her your money. See if I care. I had never seen these emails. Mom never told me. But she had saved them. She had given them to Mr. Donnelly. April 8th. From Talia to her mother. I can't believe you're being so selfish. I'm your daughter too. Just because Mira is playing nurse doesn't mean she deserves everything. You owe me. Talia made a choking sound. She covered her face with her hands. But I knew she wasn't really crying. She was just trying to hide. Preston stood up and grabbed his jacket. We're leaving. Sit down, Mr. Donnelly said. His voice was firm. We're not finished. I thought back to my childhood. The memories I tried to forget. The ones that hurt the most. I was 8 years old when Mom and I moved into the basement apartment of the house. Talia's father had died the year before. He left everything to Talia. The house. The money. Everything. Mom got nothing. They weren't legally married. They had just lived together for 5 years. It's temporary, Mom told me while we unpacked our boxes in the cold basement. Just until I get back on my feet. We lived there for 12 years. Talia lived upstairs. She had the whole house to herself. 4 bedrooms. 2 bathrooms. A big kitchen. Meanwhile, Mom and I shared a converted basement with 1 bathroom and a hot plate. Every morning I would hear Talia's footsteps above me. She would blast music. Have friends over. Throw parties. And we would sit downstairs pretending we didn't exist. When I was 14, I asked Mom why we didn't just leave. She looked at me with tired eyes. Because I made a promise to Talia's father. I promised I would help take care of her. And I keep my promises. Talia never saw it that way. She saw us as charity cases. As burdens. As people beneath her. And she made sure I knew it every single day. Mr. Donnelly pulled out a photograph. He held it up for everyone to see. It was from Talia's wedding 4 years ago. This is interesting, he said. This is the official wedding photo that was sent to family members. Notice anything missing? I knew what he was about to show. I had seen it before. The memory still stung. He pulled out a second photo. This one was from my phone. I had taken it that day. This is the original photo before it was edited. In the corner of the photo, you could see Mom. She was wearing a simple blue dress. She was crying. And she had been cropped out of the final version. My aunt stood up. Talia, you didn't. Talia's face was red. It was a professional decision. The photographer said the composition was better without her in the frame. She was your mother, my aunt said. Her voice was shaking. She didn't match the aesthetic, Talia said. Then she realized what she had just admitted. She tried to backtrack, but it was too late. Preston grabbed her arm. We're leaving. Now. But Mr. Donnelly wasn't done. He pulled out one more document. This one was sealed with red wax. There's one more thing, he said. A second addendum to the will. Everyone leaned forward. Even Talia stopped trying to leave. Mr. Donnelly broke the seal and unfolded the paper. His expression was serious. Should anyone contest this will or attempt to claim what I have left to Mira, all assets will immediately be transferred to the Children's Hospital Foundation. They will be placed in a fund under Myra's name. No family member will receive a single cent. Talia made a sound like she had been punched. Preston's face went gray. Furthermore, Mr. Donnelly continued, should the contesting party agree to walk away quietly and sign a legal waiver, I have set aside $5,000 as a final gift. But only if they go peacefully. Talia looked at Preston. He shook his head slightly. She looked back at me. I could see her calculating, trying to figure out if she could win. Mom knew you would try to fight this, I said softly. That's why she made it ironclad. You can take the $5,000 and leave. Or you can fight and get nothing. My aunt spoke up. Take the money, Talia. Don't make this worse. But Talia wasn't listening. She was staring at me with pure hatred. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Actually," Mr. Donnelly said, "it is. The will is legally binding. It was witnessed by 3 parties, including myself. There is no pathway to contest it successfully." I thought about the Facebook posts Talia had made during Mom's illness. I had screenshots of all of them saved on my phone. In March, while Mom was having her first round of chemo, Talia posted a photo of herself at brunch. The caption said, "Self-care Sunday. You can't pour from an empty cup." In April, when Mom's hair started falling out, Talia posted vacation photos from Florida. "Much needed getaway with my loves." In May, when Mom couldn't walk without help, Talia posted about a new car. "Treated myself. I deserve it." Every post had hundreds of likes. Comments saying, "You go girl," and "living your best life." Nobody knew that Mom was dying. Nobody knew that I was the one sitting with her in the hospital. Nobody knew that I was the one cleaning up when she got sick. Nobody knew that I was the one holding her hand when she cried. Talia had made sure her social media looked perfect. Happy family. Successful life. Blessed and grateful. But it was all a lie. And now everyone could see the truth. My cousin spoke up from the back. "I remember those posts. You were in Florida while Aunt Helen was in the hospital." Talia spun around. "I didn't know it was that serious. Nobody told me." "I called you," I said. 37 times over 2 weeks. You never called back." I remembered the night I slept on the hospital floor. It was in late April. Mom had pneumonia on top of everything else. The nurses said someone needed to stay with her overnight. I called Talia. No answer. I called Preston. No answer. I called their house phone. Nothing. So I stayed. I pulled a chair next to Mom's bed and held her hand. Around midnight, I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. I slid down to the floor and used my jacket as a pillow. The night nurse found me at 3 a.m. She had a blanket in her hands. She covered me gently and whispered, "You're the only one who visits her." When I woke up the next morning, my back was killing me. My neck was stiff. Mom was awake and looking at me with tears in her eyes. "You shouldn't have to do this alone," she whispered. "I'm not alone," I said. "I have you." She squeezed my hand. "I'm going to make this right, Mira. I promise." Now, standing in the church, I understood what she meant. This was her way of making it right. Making sure I wasn't forgotten. Making sure my sacrifice was seen. A voice spoke up from the crowd. I turned. It was the night nurse from the hospital. She was standing in the back pew. "I remember you," she said to me. "You were there every single night." Talia turned to look at the nurse. Her face changed. She knew she was losing. "This is none of your business," Talia snapped. The nurse stepped forward. She was small, but her voice was strong. "I made it my business when I watched this girl sleep on a hard floor for weeks so her mother wouldn't be alone." "Where were you?" The room waited for Talia to answer. She didn't. Instead, she made one last desperate move. She turned to the casket and put her hand on it. "I have just as much right to make decisions about Mom's burial as she does." "Actually, you don't," Mr. Donnelly said. He pulled out another paper. Mrs. Chin signed a medical and funeral directive naming Mira as her sole decision-maker. "You have no legal authority here." Talia's hand fell away from the casket. For a moment, she just stood there. Then she did something I wasn't expecting. She lunged at me. Preston grabbed her before she could reach me. She was screaming, crying, clawing at the air. My aunt rushed over to help restrain her. "You took everything from me," Talia screamed. "Everything. You gave it away," I said quietly. "You gave it away when you chose yourself over her." Mr. Donnelly made a phone call. 2 security officers appeared at the church doors. They had been waiting outside just in case. Preston managed to get Talia outside. Through the church windows, I could see them arguing in the parking lot. She was gesturing wildly. He was shaking his head. Then she did something unexpected. She came back inside. She walked slowly up the aisle. Her mascara was running. Her perfect hair was messy. She stopped in front of me. "I'm sorry," she said. Her voice was small. I didn't know she was that sick. I looked at her. Really looked at her. I tried to find some part of the sister I thought I had when I was little. The one who let me paint her nails when I was 5. The one who taught me how to ride a bike when I was 7. But that sister was gone. Maybe she had never really existed. You didn't want to know, I said. That's different. She flinched like I had slapped her. Then she tried again. Can we just talk about this? Work something out? We're family. Family shows up, I said. You didn't. My aunt put her hand on Talia's shoulder. Honey, you need to let this go. But Talia wasn't done. She had one more card to play. She looked at Mr. Donnelly. I want to see the will myself. I want proof. Mr. Donnelly reached into his briefcase and pulled out a flash drive. I was hoping you'd ask. Mr. Donnelly walked to the front of the church where there was a laptop and projector. The pastor had been using it for the slideshow of Mom's life. He plugged in the flash drive. These are audio files Mrs. Chin recorded during her final weeks. She wanted them kept private unless her wishes were challenged. The room went completely still. A crackling sound came through the speakers. Then Mom's voice. Weak. Tired. But clear. Today is May 2nd. I want to put something on record while I still can. I closed my eyes. Hearing her voice again hurt more than I expected. Talia came by today for the first time in 3 weeks. She didn't ask how I was feeling. She didn't ask about treatment. She asked about money. She wanted to know what I was leaving her. A pause. Mom coughed. The sound was painful. I told her I wasn't ready to discuss that yet. She got angry. She said I was being selfish. She said I didn't understand how hard her life was. Then she left. Another pause. Mira arrived an hour later. She brought soup because she knew I couldn't keep anything else down. She helped me shower. She changed my sheets. She didn't ask for anything. She never does. The audio clicked off. Mr. Donnelly played another file. May 15th, Talia thinks money makes her better than Mira. But money isn't love. Mira gives love. Talia takes. Talia made a choking sound. She turned and walked toward the exit. Preston followed her. I thought about Mom's final morning. It was a Tuesday. The sun was coming through the window of her bedroom. She had been moved to hospice the day before. I was sitting in the chair next to her bed. We hadn't spoken in hours. She was too weak. But then she opened her eyes and looked at me. Come here, she whispered. I leaned in close. She reached up and touched the necklace I was wearing. It was simple. Just a silver chain. She struggled to unclasp something from around her own neck. I helped her. It was half of a broken heart pendant. Keep your half, she said. She pressed it into my palm. I gave the other half to someone once. They gave it back. But you're my other half. You always were. I started crying. I couldn't help it. Don't talk like that. I'm proud of you, she whispered. Don't let her twist you up inside. You're not second to anyone. That was the last real conversation we had. She died that night while I was sleeping in the chair. The nurse said she went peacefully. Now, standing in the church, I reached up and touched the pendant around my neck. The broken heart. And then I saw it. Talia was wearing a necklace too. The other half of the heart. She had stolen it from Mom's jewelry box after she died. I walked toward Talia. She was standing near the door trying to leave. When she saw me coming, she backed up. Take it off, I said. I pointed to the necklace. What? She touched it defensively. That necklace. Mom gave it to me. You stole it from her room. She gave it to me years ago, Talia lied. It's mine. I pulled out my phone again. I opened a video. I had recorded it 3 days before Mom died. I didn't know I would need it. But something told me to save that moment. In the video, Mom was in her bed. Her voice was barely a whisper. She was holding the broken heart pendant and talking about it. This is for Mira. My other half. She's the one who stayed. She's the one who loved me when it was hard. Talia gets nothing of mine. Nothing. I turned the phone toward Talia. She watched the video. Her face went white. Give it back, I said. The entire church was watching now. My aunt. My cousins. The nurse. The pastor. Everyone. Talia reached up with shaking hands and unclasped the necklace. She held it out to me. For a second I thought she might throw it on the ground. But she didn't. I took it from her hand. Our fingers touched briefly. Hers were ice cold. Mr. Donnelly spoke one more time. We're almost finished. Mr. Donnelly pulled out a final spreadsheet. It was printed on legal paper and highlighted in yellow. Let's discuss the funeral expenses one more time. For the record. He read line by line. The casket. The flowers. The burial plot. The permits. The death certificates. The catering. The programs. Even the parking attendants. Total amount, $18,347. Paid in full by Mirachin using her personal credit card and savings. He turned to Talia. Mrs. Whitmore, you signed an agreement on the day your mother died stating you would pay half of these costs. You received a copy via email. You acknowledged receipt. You paid nothing. Talia's face was red. I was going to pay. I just needed time. It's been 2 weeks, Mr. Donnelly said. Multiple payment reminders were sent. All ignored. Preston stepped forward. We can write a check right now. Too late, Mr. Donnelly said. The agreement stated payment within 7 days. It's been 14. The contract is void. But the debt remains. My aunt stood up. She looked at Talia with disgust. You let her pay for everything? While you were posting vacation photos. Talia tried to speak, but nothing came out. She looked around the room. Everyone was staring at her with the same expression. Disappointment. Anger. Disbelief. I think we're done here, I said. My voice was steady. Talia, you can go. She looked at me one more time. Then she turned and walked out of the church. Preston grabbed their daughter and followed. The door closed behind them. Talia tried one last time. As I was walking to my car after the service, she appeared from behind a tree. She had been waiting. Mira, please, she said. Her eyes were red. Can we just talk? Alone. I stopped walking. I was tired. So tired. I just wanted to go home. What do you want, Talia? I want to apologize. Really apologize. Not like before. She took a step closer. I messed up. I know that. But we're still sisters. We can fix this. She reached out to hug me. I stepped back. Her arms fell to her sides. This wasn't about revenge, I said quietly. This was about truth. Mom wanted people to know the truth. That's all. But why did you have to humiliate me? Tears ran down her face. In front of everyone? I didn't humiliate you, I said. You did that yourself. I just stopped hiding it for you. She stared at me. For a moment I saw something in her eyes. Not anger. Not sadness. Just emptiness. I hope you're happy, she said. Then she turned and walked away. My phone rang as I got to my car. It was a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Miss Chin? This is First National Bank. We have an account that just became accessible under your name. The bank manager explained that Mom had opened an account in my name 7 years ago. She had been depositing money into it every month. Small amounts. $20 here. $50 there. It had grown over time. The account had been locked with instructions that it could only be accessed after her death. And only by me. I went to the bank the next morning. The manager showed me the statements. Page after page of deposits. Some months there were only $10. But she never missed a month. The total was $72,000. I sat in the bank office and stared at the number. My hands were shaking. All those years she was putting away money for me. Secretly. Quietly. Making sure I would be okay. The manager handed me an envelope. This was left with the account instructions. Inside was a note in Mom's handwriting. Use this for your life. Not for surviving. For living. Go back to school if you want. Travel. Start that business you always talked about. Whatever makes you happy. You've earned it. Love, Mom. I cried right there in the bank office. The manager handed me tissues and left me alone for a few minutes. When I finally composed myself, I signed the papers to transfer the money to my regular account. As I was leaving, I passed by Talia's branch. She had tried to access this account during probate. The manager told me she had come in twice demanding access. Both times she was denied. I thought about a memory from years ago. I was 16. Mom and I were in our basement apartment. She was teaching me how to make her famous spaghetti sauce. Music was playing on the old radio. Some song from the 80s that Mom loved. She started dancing while stirring the pot. She grabbed my hand and spun me around. "You know what I love about you," she said while we danced in that tiny kitchen. "What?" "You're not second to anyone. No matter what anyone says. You're exactly who you're supposed to be." I didn't understand what she meant back then. I thought she was just being a mom, saying nice things. But now I understood. She was preparing me, telling me not to let Talia's words define me, teaching me that being kind and being strong weren't opposites. That memory was the last time I remembered her being really happy. Before the sickness. Before everything changed. Later that night, after the bank, I was packing up Mom's things from her apartment. I found a book on her nightstand. An old poetry collection she had loved. Inside the book was another letter. This one wasn't sealed. It was just folded and tucked between the pages. My hands trembled as I opened it. This was Mom's true final letter. The one she never gave to the lawyer. The letter was dated 2 days before she died. Her handwriting was shaky but readable. "My dearest Mira, if you're reading this, you've survived what I knew would be the hardest day. I'm sorry I couldn't be there to hold your hand. I'm sorry you had to face Talia alone. But I'm not sorry for what I've done. You deserve the truth to come out. You deserve to have your sacrifices acknowledged. For too long I let Talia treat you like you were less than her. I told myself I was keeping the peace. But I was just being a coward. I let her make you feel small because I didn't want conflict. That was my biggest failure as a mother. But in the end, I hope I made it right. You broke the cycle, sweetheart. You became stronger than I ever was. You stayed kind even when kindness wasn't returned. You kept showing up even when no one noticed. That's not weakness. That's power. I want you to know something important. You were never the second family. You were never the charity case. You were always my daughter. Fully. Completely. And I was so proud to be your mother. Don't let bitterness take root in your heart. What happened with Talia is sad. But it's not your weight to carry. Let it go and build something beautiful with your life. I love you forever. Thank you for staying. Thank you for loving me even when I was difficult. Thank you for being exactly who you are. Mom. I sat on the floor of her empty apartment and cried until I had nothing left. Then I deleted Talia's number from my phone. 1 year later, I was standing in a completely different place. Literally and figuratively. I had moved to Portland. Away from the memories. Away from the family drama. I used part of Mom's money to go back to school. I was studying to be a therapist specializing in family trauma. I had made new friends. Real friends who showed up when things got hard. I adopted a dog named Pepper who slept at the foot of my bed every night. I had even started dating someone. His name was Marcus. He was a teacher. He was kind. He listened. He never made me feel small. I went to therapy myself. Every week. I worked through years of feeling less than. Of being treated like I didn't matter. It was hard work. But it was worth it. I started a small nonprofit with some of the inheritance money. It helped family caregivers get financial support and counseling. Mom would have loved that. Tonight there was a fundraiser for the nonprofit. I stood in front of a room full of people and told my story. Not all of it, but enough. When I finished speaking, people came up to hug me, to thank me, to tell me their own stories of caring for sick family members alone. I wore Mom's necklace. The broken heart. It didn't feel broken anymore. It felt complete. As I was leaving the event, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I opened it. It was from Talia. I could tell by the way she wrote. I saw the article about your nonprofit. Congratulations. That was all it said. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I left it unread and put my phone away. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. I know it was long. I know it was heavy. But I wanted to share something with you. Something Mom taught me that took me years to understand. You don't have to scream to be heard. You don't have to fight dirty to win. You don't have to become cruel just because someone was cruel to you. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is keep the receipts. Document the truth. Let people's own actions speak for them. and then walk away with your dignity intact. If you've ever been the second choice in your family, I want you to know something. You're not second. You're not less than. You're exactly where you need to be. The people who make you feel small are dealing with their own emptiness. That's not your problem to fix. I learned that family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who loves you when it's inconvenient. Talia taught me what I didn't want to become. Mom taught me what I could be. And the hardest lessons came from learning the difference. Some people ask me if I regret exposing Talia the way I did, if I wish I had handled it privately. My answer is always no. Mom deserved to have her story told correctly. She deserved to have people know who really took care of her. And I deserved to stop carrying the weight of other people's lies. That day at the funeral wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. And sometimes truth is uncomfortable. Sometimes it hurts. But it's still necessary. I don't hate Talia anymore. I don't think about her much at all. That's probably the biggest sign that I've healed. Indifference where there used to be pain. She made her choices. I made mine. We both have to live with them. The inheritance money changed my life. But not because of the amount. It changed me because it was proof that Mom saw me. Really saw me. All those years I thought maybe I was invisible. Maybe my sacrifices didn't matter. But she saw everything. And she made sure everyone else saw it too. So here's what I want you to take away from this. If you're taking care of someone right now and nobody seems to notice, I see you. If you're the one who always shows up while others make excuses, I see you. If you're tired of being treated like you don't matter, I see you. Keep the receipts. Not because you want revenge, but because you deserve to protect yourself. You deserve to have the truth on your side when people try to rewrite history. And most importantly, don't let anyone convince you that being kind means being weak. Mom was kind. She was also strong enough to make sure justice was served from beyond the grave. Your silence can be louder than their cruelty when you choose the right moment to speak. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there feel less alone. Comment below if you've ever been the person who carried everything while someone else took credit. Share your story. You're not alone. And remember, you don't belong in anyone's shadow. You were made to stand in your own light. Take care of yourself. You're worth it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What does family mean to you? Please share below and subscribe to this channel for more stories like mine.